Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope everybody's having a good evening wherever you are. Some of you are in a way earlier time zone than me, so it's not quite evening yet, or maybe it is. Um, Figured I'd come on here and talk a little 49er ball with about 9 days to go before the start of the season. I'm pretty excited yet kind of nervous at the same time. Not a ton of news going on today, other than the Niners re adding some players to the back end of their practice squad, but nothing of really any importance. The story of Trey Lance still is that he's on track to play, but Shanahan didn't give like a yes or a no with him playing next Sunday. But all indications seem to be pointing that he's going to be in good enough shape to go. But we'll have to wait and see. You don't want to injure him or make things worse than they already are if you don't need to put him out there. So definitely there'll be a wait and see approach on Trey. Definitely it'll be an asset to have him out there, though. That's for sure, because whatever we saw in that last preseason game looked pretty interesting and pretty exciting. You wonder if the Niners are going to roll out that same dual threat thing, or if they're going to do something different. But I just can't wait. There's only two things I like about this time of year. It's the cool sleeping weather and football. That's it. I am not a fan of the winter or the fall. I don't like that time of year, but football is the only saving grace to an otherwise crappy time of year. I do prefer late spring and early summer over this time of year, but it is what it is. But yeah, so there's a couple things going on. Um, you know, my expectations are measured as usual because that's just the type of person I am. I have to see a little bit of this team before I really start to make any uh, proclamations about what I think this season's going to be. Because until I see this team, starters and everything on the field through the first couple games, then I'll maybe give more of an opinion of my expectations. Now, the expectation is this team's supposed to win their first two games. Now, whether that happens or not is still yet to be determined. I mean, the Niners have two gettable games, you would assume, the first 2 weeks of the year. But, anything can happen. Injuries can happen. Hopefully, maybe this year we're going to get off the injury snide and we won't be so snake bitten. But, until that actually happens, I will believe it. I do see us having a winning record this year. Whether that competes with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is another thing altogether. But I do see us having a winning record. I think we're a deep team in certain areas, and hopefully we don't have to test that depth. Hopefully the depth can just be something added that we can use and won't be something that we have to depend on because we're going to have a bunch of guys missing. Pretty good 4 running backs, to say the least. A good defensive line rotation, to say the least. Secondary is still my bugaboo. Really, it's really definitely weighing on me. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong. Maybe the rookies find a way to play better, and we'll all not have to worry about it. But hope that the pass rush does its job, and we don't have to worry about that defensive line or defensive secondary too much. What's going on? K's 91. How are you, man? Frank Tom Motion. What's going on, guys? Yeah, last Sunday without football until February. Hopefully, we're playing in February, guys. Don't know if that's going to happen, but we can always pray, right? We can always hope. It's just hard right now to really. Damian Lee, how do I feel about the O-line? A little better that they signed. Trying to think of that center. I was talking about him the other day, Jake Brendel. But we'll see. Right guard is definitely my biggest concern because of Aaron Banks playing poorly and then getting hurt. So, right guard is definitely my concern. I think McGlinchey might have a bounce back year. I think that Trent Williams, if he stays healthy, will play fine. Hopefully, Alex Mack will play as good as he can for his age. Laken Tomlinson is, he's so-so. He's average. But, If they run, the Niners are a good running team, regardless of kind of who they have in there. It's pass protection I worry about. So if the Niners' goal is to run the ball 500 times this year, like they've said, then I think they'll be in better shape to do a lot of things. If the run's successful, then I can see the Niners really making some strides. If it's not, then I could worry about the offensive line for sure. But the Niners' goal is to run the ball, from what they said, 500 times this year. So we're going to be a run first team, which I'm okay with. In the past, I probably was a little bit like, oh man, I want to see us air it out, as Eric Crocker says, air that hoe out. But if you have the ability to run the ball and smash mouth people, then why do anything differently unless you're forced to? So really confident in the running back room. I'm actually sneakily surprised of how much confidence I have in the receivers. I never thought I'd say that. It's nice to see some bigger guys in there. Nice to see some guys with some size. I'm all for the quick guys that can get open and cause separation, but I'm also a big fan of bigger guys. Just the ability to box out, having a bigger catching radius, all that stuff. It's all nice. Kim Ferrison says secondary will be better than we think. Jimmy Ward. Yeah. Jimmy Ward is definitely important to our secondary for sure. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Same with Tart. We do have a pretty good depth at the safety position. Now, the Niners tried to place Clinton Dix on the practice squad, from what I've heard, but he turned it down because of the low base salary and because the team will own your rights. But he's pretty much saying that he will be like the Niners, something like an injury standby or something. But if they sign him, they have to pay him at least like $1 million plus. And props to him. You shouldn't have to settle for less if you don't have to, especially being a veteran. So hopefully we don't ever have to test that. Clinton Dix. Hopefully our safeties play well this year, but apparently that's the situation right now. He'll kind of like be an injury standby for whatever that means. I don't know. You can see it on Twitter. It's an odd article. Yeah, Arden Key is definitely a surprise to me. Hopefully he plays well this year. I know he didn't do much in Oakland, but who does? No offense to Raiders fans, but Oakland's kind of where careers go to die. So, and I'm not a hater of the Raiders. I'm just speaking from observation. I mean, what have they done in the last however many years? Not saying that the Niners are markedly better over the same period of time, but I mean, a lot of people have a lot of not so nice things to say once they leave the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Scott, for sure that an elite front unit is definitely the key to playing better secondary. You don't want to have complete slugs back there in the secondary to where your pass rush has to get home every single time. I think the Niners starting group is more than capable of playing good pass defense with this pass rush. I didn't have really any expectation of D Ford coming into this offseason. And the fact that he might be someone we can depend on is great. And then of course we signed Samson Abucom, of course. Like you said, Arden Key, you guys said. And then of course I forget who we're getting back. I forget his name after week 6. And I forget his name. It's escaping me right now. But the Niners are definitely going to have some pieces that they can kind of roll out. They can roll out a rotation, keep guys fresh. Like I said, I hope we don't have to test our depth too much, with injuries. I mean, you're going to always have a couple injuries. We're going to have a couple injuries this year. We can sustain, 1 or 2 hits. It's when you start getting into the multiples is when things get kind of crazy. Kim Versus said, should be on the team anyway. Yeah, I kind of liked him over Tavon Wilson, but the Niners saw something different. Plus, he was here a lot longer, so you know what I mean? But yeah, I was definitely a big fan of He does make turnovers, so. But we're not the decision makers in the Bay Area there, so we can't, what we think and what the front office thinks is totally different. The question going into week one though is Trey going to play? I've never broken a fingertip or anything like that, so I have no idea how that stuff heals. If it's on his throwing hand, that can be an issue. I don't think it's his thumb. I think it's one of either his middle finger or his pointer finger or his ring finger, one of those three. And that can cause an issue. So the fact that we have now, whatever you think about Jimmy is, at this point, it's whatever. But we do have, a comparable, capable starter. If we can depend on the run game against Detroit, play action when we need to, then we should be fine. I'm not sleeping on Detroit, though, because I think sleeping on a team week one can get you beat. So I'm not really sleeping on anybody this year. I don't think the Niners have that luxury because of how they played last year. So, to me, every game should be like your last game. That's how you should approach every game. Every game is important. Whether the Niners, win by 3 points or by 30, I don't care as long as they come away with a victory. But like I said, you don't want to force the kid, but you also don't want to, retard his growth by not playing him at all. So if the Niners think that he's good to go and they can use him during Sunday's game, then do it. Yeah, I've seen similar things too, that it's not going to be healed in 7 days. Maybe I don't know what's the severity of it? They said it's a bone chip. Like I said, I've never injured that before, so I have no idea how that works. I've never broken a bone, knock on wood, in my life, so I don't know how recovery for bones work. And his finger too, that's kind of like a big deal, right? So, I guess we'll find out closer to next week this time. You figure, a week from today, the Niners will be getting on a plane to go to Detroit, and I'm sure they'll have an idea if he's playing or not. So I'm not too worried about it right now. Just because we have Jimmy, like I said, whatever your opinion is of Jimmy is whatever, but the fact that we have him and we can depend on him and hopefully he can play good enough to get us through the Detroit Lions and possibly the Philadelphia Eagles. My concern is having Trey for Green Bay. That's my biggest concern. A team like that, you got to throw everything you can at Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. So we will see once things get going. Like I said, it's 9 days away. I figured I'd make a video before sometime next week just because I have a really wonky work schedule. So I don't know how often I'll be on next week. But I'll definitely probably do something Friday night. And then I'll see how the game works on Sunday. I could probably do a post-game reaction and then maybe some follow-up video during the week. But like I said, it's weird with me because I have wonky hours and it's kind of hard to give you guys, there's people that stream every single day, all day. They must work from home or work part-time or are disabled or something. I don't have that luxury, so I do what I can, Another question that came up that I think is a concern is we signed Hurd to the roster, to the 53, but is he going to play Sunday? Can he go multiple days doing work, whether it's side work? I heard he's really been doing side work and wasn't, available during practice the last day, I think maybe Thursday. So that's a little concerning to me. You sign him to your 53, but you're still babysitting him right now. Now, maybe it's just maintenance and maybe I'm just overblowing it, but that's definitely a concern of mine. The fact that Hurd is kind of still getting this maintenance treatment. For 7.5 point favorites right now, I'm taking that over for sure. Yeah, definitely. 7.5 is pretty big. Sometimes I kind of like when we're kind of overlooked, and we're not a team that people are really sweating, because then you can kind of, like the year in 2019, what did we start? 8-0, I think. And by the time we hit 8-0, people started to see us as a good team. But up until that point, we were kind of like, oh, the Niners are going to lose next week. And oh, the Niners are going to lose next week. And somehow we made it through. We beat the Steelers in a wild game. Just all those games, like we went into the Rams place and beat them up pretty well. It was a low scoring game, but we put them down with a good defensive effort. So part of me wants to be under the radar, but at the same time, I do want the respect from, the peers around the NFL. So it's kind of like a balancing act with that. Fernanda, how you doing, man? I'm doing all right. A little quick late night Niner talk before bed. Yes, I was going to get to that. Yeah, so Akella Witherspoon, remember when he left the Niners, he said that he was the best corner in the NFL if it wasn't for injuries. Okay. And so he went to the Seahawks. They signed him. And he didn't even make it to the start of the season, and he's already been traded. Now, they're saying that it's possibly insurance because Hayden might not be there past this year. But, when you talk silly like that and say you're the best at something and you've not proven it your whole career and you've been a head case and teams need to manage you in order to get you to be productive, you kind of deserve what you got on that one. No hate to the guy personally, but he's not been anything near what we thought he was going to be when we drafted him. So, yeah, good luck to him in Steeler land there. Hopefully he plays well and maybe he gets himself a contract. But my whole thing is if we can be close to 2019 as possible, that would be our ticket to success. So what was our ticket to success in 2019? It was a dominant run game and a crazy dominant pass rush. Those are the two things that I think we've invested the most in this offseason. And I feel like if we can stay on that, sorry about the phone, guys. If we could stay on that, I think we can make some serious strides to match 2019's kind of dominance that we had. Damn, I was looking forward to watching Debo steamroll him. Yeah, there was talk that there was supposed to be some him versus Ayuk stuff going on too, but yeah, that's not going to happen. So yeah, you can't talk like you're the best if you've never shown it, and then get traded before the season starts to another team. Nothing needs to be said about him. He said it himself. So. Yeah, like I was saying though, back to the defense and the team this in general, the 2019 team was based on an ability to run the ball and to dominate and to have a pass rush that was relentless. 2019 though, we weren't as deep. And I think that's where our advantage lies this year. The fact that we're a deeper team in the defensive line, you could say that the Washington Redskins maybe have the best front four starters together, but as a group, I think the 49ers are the best overall collaboration and collection of players, but it's still wait and see. We don't know. We haven't played a down of meaningful football besides the preseason, and that doesn't count. So I think the recipe of what we did in 2019 can still work. Now, an added element, of course, is the Trey Lance element. And teams have beat us up over the course of the last couple of years with that, stick it in the running back's gut. Oh, no, I'm going to take it myself kind of thing. And they've been very successful against us. So why not get people a taste of their own medicine? Now, I don't want to run the kid all the time because I don't think that is the smartest way to go about it. But it just opens up so many possibilities in the offense. I don't care how he's used as far as, If there's some sort of split time, I'm all about whatever it takes to win is okay with me. If that means using him in 10 to 15 plays during a game and you use him on certain run plays or pass option, then you got to do that. But I'm not against anything as long as it gets you the W. So I'll be right back, guys. I have a cat that needs to get out. I'll be right back. Whoop. All right, fellas, I'm back. So yeah, I mean, the recipe of 2018 worked, and I think it still worked this year. But I think we have an added element with the quarterback that'll help us. I think we're deeper at receiver. That's another thing too. The impact of the 2019 and the receivers and how poorly they played until we got Emmanuel Sanders was something that was, yeah, anytime he was out or not in the game, I was so distraught because they were so dependent on him to be a leader. And now, you got a guy like Mohamed Sanu, you got a mix of young guys that haven't done anything in the league, in Jennings and in Hurd. And then you have a couple of guys that have played a couple of years. And to me, really, what it comes down to with that receiving core is just health. They have the ability. I'm really interested to see what Jawan Jennings can do. He intrigues me with his size. Not the biggest guy or not the fastest guy. He's not a burner, but it's cool to see some size in this receiving group. We have 3 guys that are 6'3 plus. So, we haven't had that in a long time since probably the JJ Stokes TO era. So, yes, very good point, Fernando. Trent Sherfield is something that intrigues me too, because a lot of people saw him as just a special teamer, and the fact that he's now possibly going to be an integral part of our passing game, I'm all for that too. Whether it's just 3 plays a game and he gets behind the defense, whatever, I don't care. To me, it's all about winning. It's all about whatever it takes to get there. And if, he's only used 3 plays a game, but he scores 2 touchdowns, then so be it, right? It's just, I'm excited about this year, cautiously optimistic. And I just think that if we don't have a lot of injuries, I think we can do really well. Will we be as good as the team in 2019? Maybe not. Maybe we will. Who knows? Like I said, we're deeper at running back. We're deeper at receiver. I think we're deeper, like I said, at defensive line. Those things are important. So it's definitely going to be a wait and see approach on the corners too, because it totally worries me that the 2 guys that we drafted, especially Ambry Thomas, just looks so lost out there and so overmatched. The same thing with Aaron Banks. So those are a couple things that, kind of worry me a little bit. But for the amount of guys that we miss early, we do so well later on in the draft that it's just ridiculous. We have so many late round guys that we've hit on. It looks like this Hufanga guy might be another one too. There's been talk from John Lynch that he might play himself on the field as a starter at some point this year. So, if Jaquaski or Hurd or Ward struggle, don't be surprised if the rookie makes his way onto the field. He's that talented. The knock on him coming out of college apparently was he was too slow and he couldn't cover. And, John Lynch says he looks like he's one of the fastest players on the field a lot of times. So there's tape speed and then there's, and track speed and then there's actual game speed. And some people just play faster than they run outside of a game. So definitely intrigued by that. This team is as deep as I've seen them in a long time. And it just needs to come all together this year. We have all the capable parts. We have all the capable coaching. It's a matter of doing it, not talking about it, being humble, playing every game like it's your last. And, maybe we make a run at this thing. I don't know. I don't want to do that to myself, but I'm going to, because I'm kind of one of those kind of people. If the Niners win 4 or 5 games, I'm going to get in that headspace where I think we can go all the way. Um, in 2019, when we lost the Super Bowl, I was a mess for like weeks. I know a lot of you guys were too, but I didn't do too well. So I'm trying to get myself to not to get to that point, but no promises because once the season starts, I usually go basket case. So you don't. Nope. Hold on a second, guys. One thing I wanted to talk about injury wise was the situation going on with Brandon Ayuk. There was talk that he had a hammy situation before the preseason game, and that he's still nursing it. I am a little worried about him. He seems to get nicked up quite often, so I am a little concerned about Brandon Ayuk for game day. Hopefully, his hamstring can get better in the next 9 days before the game or 8 days. So these some of these guys like Debo and Ayuk, these guys got to figure out a way to take care of their bodies. If they want to have any impact as a career, because it's getting to the point now where it's like it's always usually the same injuries with the same guys. So it's definitely more the guy than I think it is the team when you have the same injuries over and over again to the same parts of your body. So hopefully those guys can figure out in the next couple of years. I'll find a way to whatever you got to do. If you got to, cold tub, if you got to do the hyperbolic chamber, like, LeBron does. LeBron and Russell Wilson spend so much money on their bodies in the offseason. It's ridiculous. If I was a professional athlete, I would do the exact same thing. I would do anything and everything to make sure that my body from week to week is in the best condition it's going to be. Soaking, chiropractic, acupuncture, you name it, I would do it. They said he's been looking fantastic. He looked like the D Ford of old during training camp. Um, During a scrimmage with the Chargers, they said that how they measure sacks in practice. They're saying he got 4 sacks in one practice. So, it's hard to tell, until he gets on the field. Because, last year there was all this talk that he was just going to try to stay healthy. And then he played, a half a game, a quarter and a half, and he was gone for the year. So all reports that he looks good. He's been feeling really good. Let's make it through week 1 and then we'll talk about, more and more. But right now I'm not too, I'm just keeping cautiously optimistic. Same thing with Bosa. Do what you got to do with these guys. If this D line's as deep as they say it is, use a heavy rotation, do what you got to do to keep these guys fresh. In the old days, it was usually the same people that played the whole game, but in this day and age, it's just a different game. Running backs are not bell cows unless they're Derrick Henry. It's usually a committee, and that's how you keep guys fresh. It's how you keep guys healthy. So, same thing with this defensive line. If they're as good and as deep as they say that they are, then it'll be best for D Ford and Nick Bosa. I have a question for you guys in the chat who are still here. What are your game day traditions? I wanted to ask you guys, what are your traditions on game day? Do you have a specific food that you eat? Do you sit in a specific room? Do you have a bunch of stuff up? Like for me, for instance, I like to eat before the game because I get very, very kind of knotted up when I'm watching games. So I don't like to eat during the game. Sometimes I eat in the beginning. Almost always it's pizza and wings. There you go. Thank you. Me too. Pizza and wings usually. Hot buffalo, pepperoni pizza because I'm a plain guy. I usually have my basement is my kind of man cave. I got my lights that I put up, or something glowing, or all my hats and stuff. I have all my stuff set up around me. But yeah, what do you guys? Do you listen to the game with the radio broadcast on at the same time? Like, I want to know what people's what their thing is on game day. I like to be left alone when I watch games. I don't like to have people talk to me too much because I get really emotionally invested. So Usually I shut the door where I am and just stay really quiet. And then, every so often I might have an outburst if something pisses me off. But yeah, pizza's the food for me. Some people like tacos, some people like eating pasta. I don't know, whatever. Whatever gets you going through game day is what is good for you. Guess what you're eating right now while watching this? Pizza. Yeah, it's like my favorite food. I could literally eat it like 3 times a week. I come from a half Sicilian. My mother's Sicilian from Sicily, so of course, I have sauce like constantly. Um, Even though I look Irish, I'm more Sicilian than anything. But yeah, it's usually either a homemade pizza. Um, if you're gonna get it from somewhere, get it from a place that's close that you can go pick it up before the game, so it's nice and hot. Um, I always have a tradition, win or lose, after the game. I usually have me and my brother make a cup of coffee and go sit out by the bonfire in the back. He's actually building me a fire pit, so hopefully we can use that after the game on Sunday. Get some wood on there, get that thing crackling. Hopefully, both my team and his team win. He's a Dolphins fan. I'm a Niners fan, so definitely interested in that. Yeah, I have these weird game day traditions. You do your stuff, if you're religious, you do all that stuff first. That always comes first and foremost. And then right after that, you get out of your dress clothes or whatever you use if you go to church or worship or whatever you do. And then it's right to the jerseys and t-shirts and hats and all that stuff. I usually don't wear jerseys during games though, because I get really hot. So it's usually shorts and a 49er shirt like this. And then after the game, if we play really well, the next day I'll usually rock a jersey and a hat or something. Yeah, pizza and football is kind of like par for the course. Before I had the NFL Sunday ticket, I used to go to like certain bars, and it's usually was either a cheeseburger and some fries or like, a dozen wings and some fries and some mozzarella sticks or whatever, greasy, horrible food. But now that I have the ticket, I don't leave the house during games. Plus, I can act like what I want when I'm watching games too. You know what I mean? So, uh, definitely can't wait for Sunday. I know you guys can't either. Um, any of you guys play fantasy? I don't play fantasy football, but any of you guys have anything betting on this game, or any of you guys go to the casino? Like, what's the habits here of this room? Do you guys do parlays? Some people do parlays for games. Again, I don't do anything. I'm so committed to my team. I'm too distracted to worry about betting or anything like that. So nothing, zero. All right. Well, guys, this wasn't the longest stream of mine. Like I said, I'm going to keep them short, and there's not a ton to talk about. I figure I'd just be wasting your time. But yeah. So probably going to do a stream next. I might pop in sometime early next week, or just make videos depending on the news. But pregame Friday, I'll probably do a game, and then I don't know how late I'm going to be on for the game after the game on Sunday, because I'm probably going to do a call in to one of the Niners flagship radio stations. I'm going to try to get in there. I'm going to try to kind of push my channel a little bit live on the radio, so maybe some people will listen to it. So wish me luck. Um, I actually have the direct number to Larry Kruger from KNBR, so I texted him because he's been on my show like 3 times. And he said there's a specific number that the Niners have for people that are out of state, since I'm a New Yorker. So I'm going to try to call in, say my piece. Hopefully the Niners win. If they lose, I'm going to definitely have something to say as well. But yeah, I can't wait for the football, man. Like I said, cool weather and football are the only things that redeem fall and winter. So for all you guys on the West Coast, you're lucky, except for the drought and the fires. That's not so lucky. And then, all you guys who live down in the southeast, I'm praying for you for sure. For anybody that's been dealing with any of that stuff, my heart's out for you. I wanted to know if you guys heard about the Dante Pettis. He was initially, I think he made the 53 on the Giants. Then they released him and put him on the practice squad. And there was this interesting article that he had where he talked about how I guess he understands kind of like why the Niners got rid of him, and he says he thinks that maybe, I don't know, you got to read it. It's weird. It's worded really weird. Like maybe he didn't take things as seriously and maybe he wasn't as committed. And it was like a really interesting article. It's just really telling about his headspace and about how he perceives football and the importance of it to him. I just don't think personally, physically, he really loves the game. And when I listen to the interview, or if you listen to stuff he has to say, it just reaffirms how I always felt about him. Fernando says he was never a fan of Pettis. I completely agree. I did not like him either. Never, ever was a fan of his from get-go. He was small. He didn't, he never got stronger. He never got better. They said he had this, ability to get open and with the stinky leg or whatever they call it. But to me, he never got separation. He didn't like contact. The last straw was when they put him on special teams toward the end of the year in Seattle, and he biffed that. He screwed that up. So I'm just surprised that it took as long to get rid of him as it did. Same thing with CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins. I will say, though, one thing I was pleasantly surprised is when the Niners moved on from Colton McKivitz initially. I don't know if he's a third or fourth rounder. He was a pretty decent picked offensive lineman. I mean, might have been a fifth rounder, but they released him initially, but then brought him back. So, yeah, the whole Colton McKivitz, I feel like that Shanahan and Lynch learned from the Pettis situation that, just cut your ties and cut your losses quicker. But, so Pettis right now is on the practice squad for the New York Giants. But like I said, he was never a person that struck me as someone that loved football. I felt like he loved cats more than he loved football, which is fine because I'm a cat person. But, he just didn't give off the vibe that he was all about physicality and, macho or whatever. Whatever his life, what he does outside of football is his business. But he just didn't give the vibe of somebody that really loved the game. And if you don't love the game, get out. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get yourself hurt, the way I look at it. So thought that was interesting. I wonder if you guys read up on that. If you don't know, you could probably just Google it and it'll come up for you. But yeah, so that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope everybody has a fantastic day tomorrow, and everybody stay safe and healthy, and take care of yourself. Yeah. I just, I could say a lot more things about him, Fernando, but I'm not going to because I want to keep my channel. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys will pop in after the game next Sunday. I'll definitely make a live stream. I'm sorry they've been sporadic and weird. I can understand why people haven't been as active in my streams. But also there's really not much to talk about at this point. It's been reiterating, so got to pick your place, pick your spots on these live streams. So thanks for the support. Whoever was in here, thanks for commenting. For whoever commented, I appreciate it. Drop a like and sub if you like what you hear. And guys, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye, guys.